Scene script. Have you ever wondered how rockets are made? The process is as fascinating as the final product. Let's kick things off with the concept and basic design of rockets. You see, a rocket isn't just a giant tube that shoots into the sky. It's a marvel of engineering, a symphony of science, a ballet of physics. The essential parts of a rocket include the engine, fuel tanks, control center, and payload. Each part has a distinct purpose. The engine, our rocket's powerhouse, is where the magic happens. It's where the fuel combusts, creating the thrust that propels the rocket skyward. Then we have the fuel tanks, the rocket's pantry, if you will. They hold the propellant needed to feed the engine. Now let's not forget the control center. This is the brain of the operation, housing the computers and systems that keep the rocket on course. It's like the world's most advanced GPS, but instead of guiding you to the nearest coffee shop, it's directing a multi-ton vehicle through the unforgiving void of space. And finally, the payload. This could be anything from a satellite to a rover, or even a crew of astronauts. It's the reason the rocket is blasting off in the first place. But how do we get from concept to creation? Well, the design process begins with a series of sketches and computer simulations. Engineers and scientists huddle around computer screens, meticulously creating and refining the design. They run simulation after simulation, making sure everything works in the virtual world before even thinking about building it in the real one. It's a process of trial and error, of testing and retesting, of pushing the boundaries of what's possible. And it all starts with a simple idea, a spark of inspiration. So, the rocket's journey begins on paper, or more accurately on a computer screen. But it's about to get a whole lot hotter. Once the design is finalized, it's time to bring the rocket to life. And no, Frankenstein's laboratory is not involved. Now you might wonder, where does this Herculean task begin? Well, it starts with the construction of the individual rocket components. The manufacturing process is a fascinating orchestra of precision and engineering prowess. First, the engine is created. This is the heart of the rocket, where all the magic happens. The engine is meticulously built with every valve and every nozzle carefully crafted to withstand the immense heat and pressure it will face during launch. Next, the fuel tanks, the lifeblood of the rocket, are constructed. These are not just any old tanks. They have to be strong enough to hold vast quantities of rocket fuel, yet light enough not to weigh down the rocket. It's a delicate balancing act, but one that is crucial to the rocket's success. Parallel to this, the control center is being created. This is the brain of the rocket, controlling every part of the journey from launch to landing. Filled with complex software and hardware, it is what keeps the rocket on course and on mission. And let's not forget the payload compartment. This is the reason for the rocket's existence, the precious cargo it carries. Whether it's a satellite, a rover, or even astronauts, the payload compartment is carefully designed to protect and deliver its cargo safely to its destination. As each of these components is created, they are tested rigorously. Every bolt, every weld, every circuit is checked and double-checked. After all, in space there's no room for error. Now that we have all our rocket components, it's time to put the pieces together. It's like a giant, potentially explosive jigsaw puzzle. But don't worry, we've got the best minds in the world working on it. After all, we're not just making a rocket, we're making history. With all the pieces assembled, it's time for the rocket to stand tall and get ready for its journey to the stars. Now, you might think that we're done once we've put together all the parts of the rocket. But in fact, we're just getting started with the final assembly and testing phase. This is a crucial step to ensure that the rocket is fit for its journey. And no, it doesn't involve duct tape and a quick once-over. Think of it like this. If you were going on a long road trip, wouldn't you want to make sure your car is in top shape? The same principle applies here, but on a much grander scale. Each component of the rocket is meticulously checked and rechecked, with engineers going through extensive checklists to ensure that everything is functioning as it should be. Once the rocket has passed these tests, it's ready to be transported to the launch site. Now this isn't as simple as strapping it to the back of a truck and hitting the road. The rocket is usually transported in pieces, then reassembled at the launch site. This is a delicate process that requires precision and care. With the rocket now standing proud on the launch pad, it's time for the final preparations. This includes fueling the rocket, which is a highly delicate process. Imagine trying to fill up your car with fuel, but the fuel is super chilled and highly volatile. It's a process that requires the utmost precision and care. Once the rocket is fueled, it's time for the final checks. This is the last chance to catch any potential issues before the countdown begins. It's a tense time, with every second counting down bringing us closer to the moment of truth. So, there we have it, a fully assembled, ready-to-launch rocket. All that's left now is to light the fuse and hope that it doesn't go up like a box of fireworks at a 4th of July party. With the countdown complete, our rocket is ready to blast off and reach for the stars. The ignition process begins, and a spectacular display of power and precision unfolds. The rocket engines roar to life, burning thousands of pounds of fuel in mere seconds. As the rocket climbs, gravity and atmospheric pressure work against it. But our marvel of engineering is designed to overcome these challenges. As the rocket ascends, it goes through a process known as stage separation. This is where the lower parts of the rocket, having expended their fuel, are jettisoned to reduce weight. This allows the upper stages to continue their journey with less drag. Finally, once the rocket reaches its desired orbit, the payload, whether a satellite, a probe, or a spacecraft, is deployed into space. And that, folks, is how a rocket is made and launched. Next time you see a rocket launch, remember, it's not just a giant firework, it's a marvel of engineering. Unless, of course, it explodes on the launch pad, then it's just a really expensive firework.